I would like to talk about how our habitual way of playing can help us or interfere with how we play. Now, this is going to be part of a number of videos I'm making on this subject, and on this video I want to talk about and explore how you have habits of playing and that they may be very, very strong habits. So try this. Make a breath attack, produce a breath attack on beat 1. Now, a breath attack is when you start a note and you don't use the tongue. So it's with just the air. You're going to count it off like this, and you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, breath attack, right on 1. Try it, and let's see what you noticed. You probably noticed that there is some kind of air before it, or there is not any air sound before the tone on beat 1. So if you have air before the tone, that is characteristic of a jazz style. That is how a breath attack is made in jazz. And it's a very strong habit. In fact, if you try to take that habit out of it, then you would find that very difficult to do. In fact, go ahead and try that. Play with a breath attack several times on 1 and see if you had that air before it, if you could eliminate the air before it. Try it. Now, you can pause and we'll come back. Now, the breath attack in jazz is going to sound like this. 2, 3. There's going to be air before it. And in a jazz style, now you notice when I use my tongue, the sound starts right away. But that doesn't change the relationship between when you start the air and when the tone sounds. Because even when I am playing with the tongue is stopping that air. You can hear that I'm putting that air behind, starting it before I release the tongue. In classical music, it's very different. And it's the air and the tone are coordinated to happen at the same time. And it sounds like this. You will always get that silence before the sound, and usually silence after the sound too. And so in classical music is going to go like this. It's going to have a very clear sound around that note. The tongue is used to shape the sound. Okay, so now when you tried to take that air out of the sound or put air in it if you're a classical player, you might have found that is really, really difficult to do. In fact, it's highly unlikely you could take it out of there because style is one of those things that we use all the time and it becomes a very dominant habit. Now, this is one of the things that I find is interesting, is that the breath attack reveals the style. Now, you might be thinking, well, I don't think classical style is natural. Or, oh, that's the way I am, and that's the way I'll always be. I'm not gonna change. Or maybe I don't have the talent to be able to do that. All of those things are false. None of it's true. Because the tone happened when you wanted it to happen, on the beat. It's just the way you did the tone is going to be very habitually related to the style you play in. So this tells us that one of the hardest things to do in music is to not do something. Now, another thing that people think when they're playing a style that's unfamiliar is they just don't understand the concept. They don't understand the feel of it. And that's understandable because there is a lack of understanding of what to do, what to feel, and what to imagine. But a physical action is the manifestation of a concept. It's just not feel. It's not the idea or the concept of a different music. So you may find that musicians that play both styles can do this thing with the air and no air a lot easier because they're always working that. The point is that the flexible air is a basic skill to both jazz and classical styles. And that breath attack exposes the beginning and endings of our note and how we do them, especially if we do them very habitually. And they are the primary ways that we identify a style, but also tone and even the instrument that you play. And so you may not need to ever play both styles, but having that kind of choice, having that kind of availability in your sound will only help whatever style you're playing. It doesn't matter that you're introducing some classical playing. You're not going to do that. But how are you working within the style and how do you want to express yourself is the point. And so those dominant habits can interfere with what we want. Having choices of how to do those things allows us to play the way we want much more clearly. Now the question becomes, how do we go beyond those habits? If they're so strong, they're compulsive, then I'm going to do them. I can't get out of that. That's a loop that's going to keep feeding itself over and over again. Well, it's a lot easier than you think. And that's what I'm going to address in the following videos. I'm Steve Duke. This is saxcoach.org. Thanks for watching.